Today we're going to see two brand new styles from Toni Brattin. This is something that Sheena Easton would have sported back in the 80s. Wow, beautiful. At Wig Studio One, if you drop below the video, expand the description box. I'll attach a direct product link for these styles. If you click on the link, it'll take you out to the site where you can see all of the colors and the pricing. We invite you to shop at Wig Studio One. If you have any questions for us, please reach out to support@wigstudio1.com. This one is called Fantastic. That's the name of the style. These are in the regular size, although you will also find these in large. The color on this is called Platinum. This is more of your retro shag. This is something that Sheena Easton would have sported back in the 80s. All right, it's full of layers and fluff and volume. It has a really nice long nape. I would estimate that nape to be about 4 inches. Ample enough to cover all the hairlines. It has a little bit of a swoop around the ear. Also just gives it that retro feeling. And even all over, you've got this little micro curl and wave, which accentuates the volume. And this is the type of wave that isn't going to fall out. This is a permanent look. Now at the bang area, I'm going to estimate right around 3 to 3.5 inches. Again, I'll post those specs for you. But right out of the box, it has a lift. It has a curl, a back curl. So it looks like you've just taken a curling iron and moved it back away. There's a hidden weft there, so it really does give a nice natural looking hairline without the price of the monofilament. And there's these curls everywhere, so you can just take your fingers and style this however you want. It does have an adorable profile. You're going to see lots of volume on the sides and at the crown, and be able to, like I say, just manipulate that. This is heat-friendly fiber. Both of these are heat-friendly fiber. In fact, all of the Toni Brattins are made from that heat-friendly. But yes, this is definitely giving me those 80s vibes. Now, if you don't like it stretched all the way up and away from the face like this, let's try to maybe curl it down and under. I also think you can do that very easily. There's a lot of permatease on this. You're going to find permatease on the top, sides, and back. We'll get into some more of that in the styling, but let's take a look at this cap. This is going to be your traditional cap by Toni Brattin. It's very, very comfortable. Now, even the regular size, I do have to cinch in as far as it could go to accommodate my petite average circumference. I feel like Toni Brattin does run a little bit large, and they do have a large option as well, which I've never explored, but I can imagine it would not fit me at all because it would just be too large. So keep that in mind. So many different options out there. But you'll see a nice velvet piece at the front, giving it a nice soft feeling against the skin. It's not itchy. I don't feel any like pressure points on it. Then you have a little bit of a hidden weft, which is that brush of fiber that you see up against the hairline that helps give it a nice natural look, despite the fact not having monofilament. That helps keep the price point down. This is a great alternative to some of the more expensive styles that are like this. And then you'll see open wefts on the top, sides, and back. And another great thing about the Toni Brattin caps, you're going to find Velcro adjusters. We all seem to love those most. And I can get a nice secure fit on those. An extended nape, it's also made from that soft velvet. It feels beautiful against the skin. So this is definitely very wearable for every day if you have hair or if you don't. Before we move on to the Beachy Waves style, let's chat briefly about this color Platinum. This is my first experience with Platinum by Toni Brattin. This is one of their newer additions in recent years. So what you're going to find here is a nice creamy platinum. It's almost a white, but it is tempered a little with like a baby gold blonde. Now that's not enough to warm this up. This is a very cool color. Now I do notice that there is a bit of root on this, and this is just a soft shades root. If you remember the Sunkissed Beige by Gabor, the soft shades version, it does have a slightly darker root. It's very subtle and it just blends right in. This is more of a light brown or dark blonde root. So it's not in stark contrast to the color. And this will make so many of you happy. I really feel like this color would be great if you're transitioning to gray. There's enough platinum to give that effect. So I did have this out of the box just to inspect it and remove the tags. But I haven't had it on yet. So this one is in the color light brown. It's good to see the different colors too in the Toni Brattin line. Okay. Wow, it is really, the curls are just lovely on this one. Now, right out of the box, you notice they're intact and they're kind of noodly. You can brush those out or leave them just as they are, whatever suits you best. Look how feminine. So this front piece here appears to be, you know, maybe 5-6 inches. It feathers back into the style. Isn't that beautiful? And it has that similar cap that we discussed, and more of an open or traditional cap. And then the Velcro adjusters with the velvet napes. Chatting about this color, this light brown, actually looks a little bit more medium to me. So it looks to be a medium chocolate brown base, and then it has some gold blonde highlights. So the gold blonde highlights isn't really enough to make it a super warm. It's not a butterscotch blonde, but it's just enough. And I think this is going to make you really happy. A lot of times we're looking for a very natural looking highlighted brunette that doesn't have a lot of red in it. Now this one is probably the longest Toni Brattin style that I have seen. Typically Toni Brattin line really specializes in pixies, short grown out pixie looks. And I think this is actually the longest one in that Toni Brattin collection. I think it's going to be right around 18 inches. So in the front, it appears to be a 5.5 to 6 inch fringe there. And it sweeps back and away from the face. It's rather smooth on the crown until you get about halfway down, and then it sprouts into this beautiful spiral, like just mildly deconstructed spiral. Each one of those has a little bit of a air-dried look to it. It looks very noodly right now. And again, we can take heat tools to this. We can brush it out a little bit and really customize it according to our taste and preference. So does it have permatease? Yes, it does have some permatease. It's not an overabundance of permatease, however. I don't feel it's real heavy through the temple, and sometimes that's impossible to work with when there's a lot of permatease right here because I can't get the profile that I like. So it's smooth profile. Very limited permatease, enough to cover wefting, give it some structure. But now what do I do with this front piece? So still in its weave pattern here, just left of center. You can part it anywhere you want. Let's see about breaking that up. That'll give you a sense of that bang too. Now you could trim in a full straight across bang on this one. But this length of fringe is going to allow you to part it from either direction, even do more of a curtain bang if that's your preference. Look how soft and smooth the fiber is. Wow. Okay, so I broke that up a little bit there. And now let's just look at fluffing those curls just a little. I'm picking and fluffing with a wig brush. I'm not going out to the ends. Just enough to separate and bring some air into those curls. You have to watch with curl like this too. If you brush it out too much, it can get a little bushy and perhaps even a little more frizzy. And if that happens, just mist with water, scrunch, and allow to dry. So this curl seems like it's gonna be intact even through brushing. That's a good thing, guys. So this curl will last you through washings as well, as long as you don't straighten it with heat. If you straighten it with heat, you got to put it back in with heat because it's going to stay that way. But if you don't take any heat to it, if you just leave these curls the way they are right out of the box, it should last through washings. Wow, beautiful. That beach wave is just gorgeous, isn't it? Such body. I don't know how they're doing this. This is really something. They've come a long way with the heat-friendly fiber. So I can imagine that this makes some really pretty ponytails as well. All right, so let's take a look at both of these side by side in an outdoor light, and then we'll do some styling for each. you've seen me take this right out of the box, just work with a little bit, sometimes just bringing some air into that layering and curl just brings it to life. I love the bounce of this curl. It's definitely very beachy and carefree.